episode 20 of the Clock Enders podcast. Most times in my life, if my club is going to Anfield and you say you're going to get a point, most times you would bite that person's hand off for that point. I didn't feel the same today, especially how the game started. I myself, Reginald Dino, here with Life of the Party, reacting to the 2-2 draw at Anfield between Liverpool and Arsenal today. I don't know how to feel. Up 2-0, obviously get a draw. I don't know how to feel. Am I sad? Am I happy? Am I okay? Can I still go out and get a beer? I don't know. How do I feel?
I mean, they literally took you through the entire roller coaster of emotions. Because I mean, to me personally, I thought, yeah, three points would be nice, but I would take one coming into Anfield. I was perfectly happy to take one. Then, like you said, game starts. We get up 2-0. I'm like, we definitely need to win this game. They get one back. I still feel like, you know what, we're going to be able to ride this out. A championship team will be able to ride it out. And more than that, based on the way that we played in the first half, I thought for sure we're going to score a third. If anything, it might turn into a circus. But I was more prepared for that than what ended up happening. And then, the roller coaster of emotions continues. The penalty, obviously not a penalty. I don't know where or how or why.
Worst referee in England refereeing the game, so that's how.
Yeah, pretty incredible. From that to penalty miss, right?
Yeah.
So it's up, down, up, down. Entire time, still expect to win it. I said it takes a little long with some of the subs.
They had opportunities to win at the end, which is what people are going to tell you, but so did we. Gabriel header off the corner. He's right at a meter on any side. That's a goal. 3-on-2 at the end of the game.
Yeah,
heavy touch from Martinelli.
The muff pass by Martinelli. And I mean, when Tierney took a shot, it really looked like he could have played Martinelli in, and he would have been almost all alone as well. There were opportunities, as there have been, against Liverpool this season for a lot of opponents. So I expected that we would have them too. I mean, ultimately, in the end, if your goaltender is man of the match and you escape with a point, I think that and foreshadowing. But if your goaltender is man of the match and you escape with a point, I think it's safe to say that that's a point you should be happy with. I mean, that's where I'm ending up on this one, basically.
Well, that's what confuses me, because every time I say, yeah, Anfield come out of there with a point, no problem, and then it's always, but we were up 2. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, I don't know, and we're on opposite sides on what the catalyst for that 2-goal comeback for Liverpool was. You and some other guys in the chat are blaming Xhaka for
not full blame. Actually, it was my brother I was talking to as well, and he I said it to him, and he said, yeah, 100%. He was like, why poke the bear at that point? You know what I mean? It was after a giveaway, like so high up the pitch. You come back on for some reason, you're fired up. You kind of give a little stamp, and once Trent Alexander starts to walk to you, okay, job done. Why turn around? Why turn back and face him? You know what I mean? Like, your job is done at that point. You've, in terms of being an agitator or a disruptor, you've done what you needed to do. You know what I mean? Like, facing up to him makes no sense. Then, at that point, you remember what the crowd was like. The crowd was, they were withdrawn. They were withdrawn. Yeah. They were almost resigned to, another whatever it was, 60 minutes of pain at that point. They, it was, to me anyways, that's how it seemed. And then then the conversation happens, crowd gets fired up, team gets fired up, just the kind of tilt on the pitch changes a little bit at that point, and it kind of manifested itself throughout the rest of the game. I don't know what Arteta said in the pregame, or what happened in the locker room in the pregame, because for that up until that point, it was like we were shot out of a cannon.
Well, we went into the game on the front foot. In the second half, we decided to defend. There was times we would just kick it out, and guys wouldn't even cross half. Or Saka or Jesus wouldn't even cross half. Or we were trying to absorb the pressure. Maybe the tactic was to hit him on a counter. I don't know, but you cannot play like that for 45 minutes. I don't care what field you're on at the EPL level. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he got the only. Well, we'll go through the lineups. He might have got one thing wrong with the starting lineup, maybe. But I mean, again, we've talked about this during other podcast shows. There's gonna be tough decisions on who's gonna start on this team, and you're starting to see that now. But let's fly into the player ratings for the game. You foreshadowed it, like you said. This guy has to be man of the match. So we'll start off with Aaron Ramsdale.
Number one in your programs, number one in your hearts.
That's right.
And should be, as we will continue to hammer away at England's number one. Put Jordan Pickford in a pressure cooker like what today was, and show me what would happen. He would turn into a gelatinous mess. Okay, that's what would happen. You know what I mean? Like when you over pressure cook something. Okay. Aaron Ramsdale was what's the word?
So many.
Omnipotent. You know what I mean? He was unreal today. I mean, and in a match of this magnitude, like another. I mean, he's had a few of these games this season, and I think if you're gonna ever, get to contending at the top of the table, your keeper's gonna have to deliver you some points. And this point today was all his.
Yeah.
The save on the 1-on-1. Oh my gosh, the one off of the deflection, the stretch to the corner. I mean, that is top bins. That's going top bins. How does he get there? There wasn't much in the way of distribution. Everything was down the pitch, but we had a game plan, right? And that was essentially, put it long, hold it up, bring in the runners. You know what I'm saying? Like there wasn't a whole heap of building from the back. It was a lot of putting your ball through or putting your foot through it, especially, when it comes back. And he was pretty accurate. He found guys at times as well. And like I said, he was there when we needed him most. So that's a 9 performance from Aaron Ramsdale today. Yes, that's right. You expected a 10. You expected me to say a 10. Two goals. He did guess right on the penalty.
I'm waiting for you to change it. So.
The shithousery too. I mean, I'll give him a low 10. I'll give him a low 10.
There it is. I don't have to erase that because I already wrote it down.
A low 10.
I don't give out these. I've given out 1 this season. I'm giving him a 10 because he doesn't make those saves. We lose. That's it.
By a lot.
That's it. We lose 5-3, 5-2, 4-2, something like that. If he doesn't make those saves.
Yep.
That's it. And you make the comparison to England's number 1, Jordan Pickford. I mean, this is still a debate, eh? It really is. I don't see it, but apparently it's still a debate who the number 1 in England is. I don't get it, but anyways. So Aaron Ramsdale gets a 10 from me. 10 from a low 10 from Edson. So I'm pretty sure I can highlight that as well.
Just because there's a couple of goals on the board. That's all. I thought that might or even a victory might push it to a 10. either or. I think would have
Yeah.
now somehow pushed it to a 10. But
He's the reason
performance,
why we didn't lose, though.
yeah, absolutely.
So that's why he gets on
Low.
my
That's why I said low 10, low 10.
team. Okay, we'll move to the right side of the field, and we'll start. Actually, no, we'll start with Zinchenko on the left side. We always start with Ben White. We'll start with Zinchenko.
Zinchenko. I'd say he got worse as the game went on.
I think so too.
Yeah, and maybe again, sort of after the flashpoint moment, where things seem to kind of change course a little bit. Um, I think things at that point changed course for him too. Mo Salah became very much more involved in the game, especially around the edge of the box. Um, and became extremely difficult to play. And I mean, they set up a little bit different today. Liverpool looked like a back three. You saw that Konate was patrolling the right side there, was playing an awful lot against Martinelli, giving him the business treatment at times too. That's what I noticed, anyways. And I think that it kind of crossed us up a little bit on that left side, on that right side, I should say, um, um, with Robertson being able to play up a little bit more and get into some areas which pushed Henderson into some areas which became threatening, and then everything was kind of coming down that side. It seemed like we were being targeted over there, maybe in part because of he and Xhaka also maybe thinking throw guys forward. Maybe the pace mixture of pace. I'm not sure exactly, but I figured like that was what they were trying to target, and good on them. They gave us trouble in those areas. But I think that he had a fair performance. He gave as good as as he got, especially going forward. Obviously, being involved in good bits of play as well. So Zinchenko 7.
That's what I gave him as well. I gave him a 7. Like you said, towards the end of the game, not just the nutmeg for Firmino's goal, but I mean he was giving the ball away, missed control. I don't know, tired legs. We said, I guess. I mean, you're running around the whole game. We had in the first half, we had it. I mean, it looked like we were in second gear. No one was really expending that much energy to get around them, but.
Right.
As soon as the game picked up a little bit, I think the legs started to show a little bit. Maybe Arteta is guilty of not making a substitution a little bit earlier, bringing on Tierney a little bit earlier. Maybe if Tierney's one-on-one with Salah or with Trent, that doesn't happen. Who knows? You can't really tell. But yeah, so I felt that he faded towards the end of the game as well. So I'm leaving him with I'm giving him a 7 as well. We'll go across the line. We'll start with Gabriel Magalhaes in the middle. I'm giving him an 8. He, in the first half and even in the second half, got involved with marking Mo Salah, and Mo Salah had a hell of a time with him. He patrolled him well. He let him get into spaces where it was easy for him to mop up and not the other way around, where it was easy for Salah to get around him. Salah was having a hell of a time with him. And that's why I think Salah had to start picking up the ball a little bit higher up the field, where he was now maybe one-on-one with like a Zinchenko.
Zinchenko's responsibility.
That's right, because he wasn't getting any change out of Gabriel, who was just marking him directly out of the game. He was fantastic today. So I'm giving him an 8, a high 8, say.
Yeah, I think that's a fair rating. He also again a menace in the box, a chance that could have gone anywhere there late off of his head, and holding it down with another partner, holding it down.
Yes, I see. Nice.
That's right. You got a bad joke it up on a Sunday. He holding it down with a new partner and new bits and Xhaka in his in his more forward role as well. So, he and again, he plays every game for us, and he was unbelievable today. So yeah, high eight. I think I'll roll with you on that one.
Yeah, if it was a win, I don't know. I don't know. He probably would have been man of the match, but his partner we just spoke about, Mr. Holding.
Rob Holding, unbelievable, unbelievable. Besides one giveaway, he basically didn't put a foot wrong. Um, really, really unreal performance. I'm tempted to give him a 9, but I won't. I'm giving him another high 8 to match his partner. But he was I thought really good out there today. Besides that sort of that one back post chance or whatever, or the one that ended up being a goal. But I would put that more on Ben White.
Yeah, for sure.
In our next rating.
Yeah. Even though he gave away the penalty, which was never a penalty in my
That's not a
books. It's never a penalty. Um, the worst referee in England fell for it, and I
And
guess
VAR decided
justice
that
was
that was
VAR. But
acceptable.
someone was telling me that VAR is just there because if the referee, if it looks like the referee made a mistake, so any call the referee makes can be viewed as, well, he didn't make a mistake because he thought that this happened. So it wasn't a mistake. And that's when they go over to that's when they tell them to go over to the board and look at it yourself. But at the same time, you have to send the referee over to the screen to look for himself. That's never a foul on hold.
All PKs should be the ref should have a second look at, first of all.
For sure.
Whoever's on the pitch, all PKs, why not? Why not? It takes long enough for the booth to have a look anyways. Who cares? Let the guy on the pitch have a look, right? Along with why leave it up to them? Make it mandatory. Every penalty. Go have a second look. Boom. Even if it's just one. Boom. All right, gone. You know what I mean? You'll have the guy in your ear talking to you the entire time anyways. Yeah. Okay?
These are all great points, but you'll never see it because the people that run the EPL are idiots. So you'll never see that. Because that would make too much sense for us to watch that. So yeah, even beyond that PK, that fake PK, like you said, high 8s for Rob Holding. Benjamin Blanco. I don't know, man.
I'm gonna say that Benny Blanco had to me that was a 6 today. He couldn't seem to kind of help Saka unlock that side. He didn't get forward very much, and I guess that maybe was part of the plan today. It kind of looked, more like a back 3 than ever. He did, he snuffed out a lot of stuff, sort of coming at us by being aware and first to the ball on a number of occasions. So I wouldn't say that he had a bad game per se, but when Firmino gets that open on a back post, and he doesn't seem to be anywhere in the frame from what I recall.
He's on the ground.
He's on the ground.
Ended up on the ground anyway.
Right. So I'm gonna call it a 6. I'm gonna call it a 6.
I was close to giving him a 5. I thought that was probably harsh, so I'll give him a 6 as well. Just look out of sorts today. I don't know, passes were going astray. It just looked like it's the first time he ever played with Saka, and it's not. I don't understand the performance today, but I'm giving him a 6. At fault for the goal. I don't know. The marking could have been better, especially from a guy that always scores against us. You should always know where that guy is, but he'll go 10 games without scoring. He'll play against us and he'll have a brace. So
yeah,
I mean, we should know where he is at all times, and we lost him in 87th minute tying goal. So I'm giving him a 6 as well. Where are we now? We are moving to the midfield. Oh, we did all 4? Yeah, we're moving to the midfield. We'll start with Odegaard.
He was super energetic today, actually. He was leading the press really well. Created a couple of opportunities that, if I recall,
kind of set up the first goal, I guess. Kind of.
Right. And yeah, Odegaard. I'm giving him a high 7 today. High 7. These are the games where you hope that he can, be decisive and be a game winner for us.
Yeah.
Now, and didn't come up with that kind of performance. But like I said, was good. Was not bad. Was good. Can't say that he didn't show up for this game. He was there. He played well, but not quite the game changing performance that I was hoping for.
Well, when I saw the lineup this morning, Fabinho, Henderson, and I don't even remember the kid, whatever his name is.
Elliot.
I thought that midfield was gonna get roasted by Partey, Xhaka, and Odegaard. I thought Odegaard was going to be the maestro, like we say, running the show, setting the tone for the band, right? But I didn't get that performance from him today. He, like we said, he kind of set up the first goal, kind of hit a couple of guys and went through to Martinelli. It was a good idea. The pass, it didn't come off, but I guess we got lucky when it went through. But all the hype from the beginning of the game, if you listen to all the commentators and all the pundits, it was like, this guy's going to run the midfield, and I didn't see that. I was expecting that, and I didn't really see that. So
yeah, if he didn't exhibit all that energy, if he didn't like if I didn't see it exerted, I would have thought, or maybe said tired performance. And maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just I would have loved to have seen a Trossard dropped into his slot and Odegaard, maybe, what I mean? Like, as crazy as that would have sounded, like, hindsight is 2020. But I didn't want to see Martinelli out of the lineup. I didn't want to see Saka out of the lineup. Gabriel's coming. Jesus is coming off of a brace. Who's next to be rotated out?
Well, how can you rotate any of those guys out? And when we get to the forward line, we'll have that discussion.
I mean, the next man out, logically, what would have been Odegaard, right? Where else can Trossard play? We know he can play in behind the striker at 10. He's good at pressing. He's covered for him too, is what I'm saying. So, maybe not to say that we got the lineup wrong. We scored too early, so Well,
yeah, I mean, that's
so first 11 was clearly what we needed from jump out the gates. So, not saying that wasn't the case, but Odegaard maybe wasn't on the level.
What are we? Okay.
7.
I gave him a 6. You gave him a 7. Okay. Thomas Partey. He broke up a lot of passes. I mean, was he that did he have that presence that he has in most of the games today? I don't know if that's based on the fact that we were kind of maybe skipping the midfield this game. We were trying to get Martinelli and Saka one-on-one with those two fools on the ends for them. Maybe we were too focused on getting the balls wide and maybe skipping out on his playmaking ability or getting the ball up the field quickly. But on the defensive side of a defensive midfielder, I thought he was great today. Breaking up, tackling, he was always around. Got his foot. He was in places. We popped up in places that you would expect a defensive midfielder to play. So I'm giving him an 8 today.
Yeah, I'm giving him an 8 as well. His standard 8, high 8. Yeah, he broke everything up. Barely put a pass wrong too. Most everything going forward. When things needed to be calmed down and recycled, he always found a way. There were a couple of touches to him that he, that could have turned into really dangerous situations that he absolutely put through the washing machine and cleaned up. Worth every penny. We say it all the time. We're not in that game without Thomas Partey. Okay, we're not in that game. We get blown to smithereens, and let's not okay, maybe he didn't throw up a 10 or a 9, but he's also playing. Okay, maybe Elliott's not okay, but against the Fabinho, Jordan Henderson's crafty. They got good things going on in the spine. He's got Gakpo to deal with, who's been pretty hot. I'm just saying, like, this is a high level match. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of things that are happening, in front of him and behind him.
And behind, right?
And I think he managed well.
Yeah, I had to chuckle. Jordan Henderson's crafty. I was praying that they would pass him the ball because he's either going to give it back to you, or he's going to make a very bad decision with it. I was praying they pass him the ball.
Crafty is like what the attribute that you put to a player that you're not really sure why they get selected.
It's crafty the way he weasels himself into the lineup. That's crafty.
That's right.
Okay, so eights abound for Thomas Partey's partner Xhaka. I know we kind of touched on this a little bit in the beginning, but your boy
Xhaka, again, I feel like he wasn't taking up too often the spaces that he would normally, be taking up when we're being our most effective. I think that, he kind of fell back into the midfield when we needed to be sort of continuing to press the way that we were pressing in the first half, which is, a little bit higher up the pitch. As we came back, I feel like there wasn't, enough space between Xhaka and Partey to get things going forward, when things weren't going our way in the second half. So it wasn't just about, him kind of lighting the wick in Anfield when he could have just walked away from the confrontation with Trent Alexander-Arnold, who played much better after they had their clash. It's like, you put a battery in his back.
There's a reason for that, though.
This is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, he played much better. So, for Xhaka, he gets a 6 from me today.
Yeah, that's what I gave him as well. Not for that thing with Trent. Maybe it had something to do with it. I mean, if your team is just feeding off the crowd energy in order to play well, I mean, that's not for me.
That's what Anfield is about.
Yeah, but that's not for me.
You know what I mean?
Believe me,
it's like that, and then like the whole Boston Garden thing. You know what I mean? Like, the leprechauns. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they did it. Remember, even in the broadcast, they mentioned that they watered the pitch at halftime, which okay, all right, I've heard of it happening, sure. But then you see like, down on our sideline, one time Saka slips on a really good chance, you know what I mean, getting the ball across and misses the cross badly, you know what I'm saying? Whereas like that's a situation where Saka's on the money 100% of the time, okay? Yeah. Just like little things like that. I mean, it's Anfield, and like I said, you think like you heard the crowd before that happened. The crowd, I mean, I don't know if anyone mentioned in the chat, but the crowd was quite silenced. I mean, really hushed, and then he gave them a reason to get fired up. I mean, one way or another, maybe you don't subscribe to the theory that something like that is what changes the game. But then, what is home field advantage if not that? Then you know what I mean? What is home field advantage then? That you're
home field advantage is being able to prepare, being able to sleep in your bed at night. Your home comforts are there. You're not on the road. You're not in a hotel waiting for the game to come. You're with your family.
No, home field
advantage isn't a bunch of drunk guys screaming very loudly. If you're and I'll tell you this. I've told this to people about Anfield my whole life. If you're afraid to play at a stadium because people are screaming and cheering for the other team, you can't play on my team. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Sorry. We didn't play scared. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying
you're already going in scared because you're afraid of the crowd.
No, what happens is the crowd then starts to affect the referee, and when things get louder, it's harder to communicate, right? And like these things are all factors of being at home. Why do you think that they're called the 12th man in the NFL? You know what I mean? Why do you think that they're trying to raise the volume? While the other guys are in a huddle calling a play on a big play. It's because home field advantage matters. Crowd noise matters. These things matter.
Real Madrid was in there a couple of weeks ago. They were down 2-0. The place was loud. The place was loud and crazy, and then they shut them up quickly just by playing football. You don't business the crowd. You don't business the crowd. I'm
Right.
sorry, man.
But what
I'm
Xhaka did
sorry.
was not football. You know what I mean?
Sorry? Huh?
Football. So what Xhaka did was not football. You know what I mean? Like what Xhaka did was like it was like a prideful thing.
Reaction though, but it was the
A
same reaction.
macho thing, right? And these are the things that he stayed away from in the entirety of this season, and a good portion of the reason why we've been able to trust him so much. You know what I mean? And like I said, step back for him. I should give him a 5, to be honest with you. I'm changing it actually. You gave him a 6. I'm giving him a 5. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's right. Mark it down.
All right, you're able to do that. That's fine. I'll take that.
Yeah.
But I mean, so you're blaming him then. You're putting the majority of the blame for that for the draw on Xhaka then.
I think that what he did was a TSN turning point, was one of the turning points in the game. Again, it was a roller coaster.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you why the game changed when we get to this player. So we finished the midfield. We'll go with Martinelli. Martinelli in the first half was the man of the match. I could already see it. A goal and an assist. Beautiful assist, by the way. Poacher's goal too. You have to take the chance that that's going to get through, and he did, and he was able to punch it by Allison, which was great. The first 45 minutes he was man of the match, but second half I don't know if things changed. So I'm giving him a 7 for that performance today. I should give him an 8, but I'm giving him a 7 because he kind of over dribbled in the. He had an opportunity to release at least 3 or 4 guys in the second half towards the end, and decided to dribble longer and go in circles, and then he lost the ball to Firmino. But so for me, that's a 7 performance. And you know, the last thing I think about when I think of Martinelli in this game was that underpass or overpass to Saka when they were 3-on-2. So I mean, it might be harsh, but I mean, at that point in the game, we need a goal, and you know, so I'm giving him a 7.
I feel that's harsh for putting numbers on the board the way that he did today.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna say it's an 8 performance. Could have been a 9 or a 10 had any one of those things gone his way.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where I put it. And I mean, he looked like a 9 or a 10 out there. You know what I mean? The way that he was performing. And again, you know, I feel like Xhaka sort of, you know, put a battery in Trent Alexander's back, you know, and the crowd kind of pumped him up a little bit, and he became a little bit tougher, you know, and more attentive to the task of Martinelli as the game went on. So it was a little bit tougher to get around him. Again, you know, I think that the heavy watering on that side of the pitch affected him also. He kind of had to be careful about his steps, I found, in the second half, just kind of from what I saw. And slipped once or twice. Outside of that, he was excellent. You know, money it says 6 million well spent. Everyone's money well spent, but you know, whatever we've re-signed him to, you know, is a bargain. So
yeah, sure. Man in the middle, Gabriel Jesus.
So two goals in 3 games, or sorry, 3 goals in 2 games now, 2 starts. Again, unreal, and really was just so energetic. You know, was passionate, was like very heart and soul performance today on top of the goal. When he came out of the match, I mean, I wanted fresh legs in the match. I didn't necessarily think for him. I thought when it happened, I was like, okay, well, yeah, maybe because of, you know, him not necessarily maybe being fully match fit, but I didn't feel like he was the first to go, especially because, you know, as the game wore on, he started to hold up the ball a little bit better too. And, you know, well, at least get to everything. And I found that, you know, playing Trossard up the middle, he had a hard time getting to pretty much anything for most of his time on the pitch. He came into it here or there. The one transition where he had that nice touch to Martinelli, which freed him up to find
The
South.
no-look pass. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that touch was unreal.
Well, this is the thing that I've been saying about Arsenal way back in the day. Before we had Giroud, we didn't have that much size up top, and we still don't have that much size up top. But we still force long high balls into our strikers when we're being defended by guys like Van Dijk, Lewis Dunk, Konate. They're never going to win those balls. If you're hoping to pick up the second ball with Partey and Xhaka and Odegaard to pick up the second ball and start playing from there, okay, that's fine. But eventually, there's going to be games like today where you're not going to win any of those, and they're going to come right back to us. So if we're playing on the ground, we're playing on the ground to his feet. It's a different thing than having him to back into a 6'4" Van Dijk and hopefully catch the ball, control it, and then be strong enough to hold them off and wait for people to flood forward. It's not going to happen every time. So, what did you gave him a number? Sorry.
I gave him. I'm giving him a high 8.
Okay. Yeah, I'm giving him an 8 as well. He changed his game a little bit as well. First half, he was getting touched, going down, rolling. Second half, didn't do it at all. Realized Tierney wasn't giving him the calls, so he changed his game a little bit to try to stay on his feet a little bit more, which is something I like to see.
Yep.
You're not getting calls from Tierney, so
yeah, and came deep a little bit, swapped with Martinelli. Did you know what I mean? Like, I cannot wait to see him against City. I cannot wait. He is going to single-handedly dismantle these guys.
I'm gonna try.
I have a feeling, and I have a feeling he's going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is just going to be him just going full Hulk mode. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just being unstoppable that day. I have a feeling that that's what we're working up to, because he changes the way that we look. Like, our highest ceiling is with Gabriel Jesus in the match. Like, the only complaint that anyone could have had before was, okay, maybe not clinical, not scoring regularly. Well, since he's come back into the 11, that's not been the case. You know what I mean? Right. And he looks calm around goal. He looks calm around goal, and that's sort of the difference. So he plays a frantic style, but which makes it, I think, harder to be clinical. He's on all energy style, but since he's come back and since the World Cup, which I think he was pressing for, now he's looked really relaxed in front of goal, and when he's had opportunities, it's looked like taking them.
Yeah. He's I think, like I said, more balls into his feet. I think he would have given Van Dijk and those guys a hell of a time. But we'll move to the right side of the field, the final guy in the starting 11, and that's Saka. And Saka is the reason I think Robertson and Trent were more prominent in the second half. We stopped attacking them. Martinelli and Saka stopped attacking them, and that's when they started to get into the game. In the first half, I promise you, I was Trent Alexander is going to get a red card.
Yeah,
because there's no way he can stop this guy unless he fouls him, and he already got the one with the Xhaka incident. And I was like, Martinelli, this should be the
barbecue chicken.
That's go at him. One false step, one missed kick, one misstep, and he takes you down. You're forcing. Even if he gets one more chance, Tierney gives him another chance. You go at him again. He's going to foul you again.
I think what happened was a good move on Klopp's part, kind of the same way that Arteta made the adjustment. You saw more of Konate on him at that point, right? Konate became sort of his steward, if you will. And and they matched up a few times and clashed a few times. And I thought that Konate maybe got some lenient treatment from the referee on a couple of occasions as well.
But he's a chopper, man. He's a chopper.
Right, but smart move to kind of shift some of the responsibility to him because Trent Alexander-Arnold was getting cooked, in the first half. And like I said, it looked sort of like they shifted to a three and took a little bit of the responsibility away from Trent Alexander-Arnold. So
Yeah. Yeah. But even Martinelli on Robertson, or no, sorry, it was Robertson on Saka. Sorry. He was playing NFL football against Saka at some points. Had all his arms wrapped around him, pulling his shirt, no cards, no calls,
nothing,
nothing.
no calls, no,
But
no.
but
Again, and that's another thing about being, on the road and being at a place like Anfield.
no,
I'm just saying.
that's incompetence. That's
I
not
know what I
Anfield.
mean is I just mean home field advantage. Like if that's the Emirates, you're getting whistles, you're getting the crowd. Even if you don't get that call, you get the next call. You know how it goes, bro.
I just hate Anfield. I hate this narrative around this stadium that is so scary. Everyone's so scared because the fans sing a song at the beginning of the game. Get out of here, man. Who cares? Who cares? Half the fans don't even know the words to the song. They just know one part.
Right. Well, I mean,
Anyways,
let's hope that clubs with fans singing before the game do have some kind of an advantage because we're one of those now too.
we're one of those now too. Yes, you're right. So Saka, I gave him a 7 that performance today. First half, he was great. He looked like he was, about to, like we say, cook these guys. And then I don't know if the tactic changed from Mikel Arteta or what, but it just didn't look the same. It didn't look the same to me. But so he gets a 7 from me.
Yeah, I mean, things just weren't building up through that side of the pitch, kind of after, a certain point there. Um, yeah, he was definitely being overloaded on that side. Ben White wasn't getting involved and getting to the byline or like running in behind or anything like that. Did he even get a cross in all game? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
So yeah, Saka maybe not enough help. Felt like could have done the old wing switch thing actually at one point too. I would have loved that, considering the fact that Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus swapped a few times. So I would have liked to have seen what he could have done against Trent Alexander-Arnold also. Give him a different look. Obviously Jesus can kind of play out wide on the right as well. He's proven that he can do that also on both sides. So yeah, I mean, with that front line in particular, I'd like to see a little bit more, fluidity, a defense like this, like again, after the first 30 minutes, you thought that it was, we were going to torch them. That's what I thought.
I thought so too.
Yeah, I thought things were going to get real ugly for them real fast. And I think that, there was just maybe a little bit, we were a little short on fluidity up front. And like I said, they got a jolt from a couple of things there towards the end of that half. And whatever Klopp said to them at halftime as well, and whatever adjustments they made, seemed to work because they turned the tide going into the second. So
I don't know I think what Klopp said might have had something to do with it, but I think the way that we played in the second half, that's all on Mikel Arteta. I don't know if he just thought we could defend for the 45 minutes and try to hit him on a counter, but it was a totally different style to what we were playing in the first half, and I don't give Klopp credit for that. Mikel Arteta changed something, and that's how they got back into the game. For me, I might be looking at it wrong, but that's for me. So that's the starting 11 for the squad against Liverpool today. We'll hit the substitutes now. There's only 3 today, it looks like. That's correct. Trossard, Kiwior, and Tierney came in.
Yep.
I don't know. I didn't really see. I thought that foul on Kiwior was Xhaka. I thought that was him.
I thought that was him too. I was like, oh gosh, second yellow.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, he's off. But it was Kiwior. So I don't know if I have enough to give him a rating. I've seen enough from him to give him a rating that game, especially after he came on and they scored. So I'm just going to give him a standard 5 for that performance. I mean, I didn't really get enough to see him.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 6. I don't feel like he was directly involved in any kind of,
Yeah,
uh, obviously he came up and tried to snuff that play out. If anything, he did a good defensive job there. Taking a man out of the play. It just so happened, he was maybe a little bit late and couldn't quite get his boot on it, but he did something.
yeah.
And then on another play, I think he made a good tackle, won the ball, and got play going in the other direction, maybe for a chance even.
I missed
So
that.
you're right. Either that or won it high up the pitch. There was something that I saw that I remember being positive for him. Just kind of judging in my head, trying to take the ticks, the pluses and minuses. So I'll give him a 6. But nothing higher than that.
Okay. Our Belgian Leandro Trossard.
Trossard, he that's a lot asking, especially a guy that size again, to kind of be the fulcrum in, your attempts to, kick and play, you know what I mean? Like, and hold up. And he did his best. And, like I said, he in transition now, it's a whole different story. You saw the touch that he had, the layoff to Martinelli late before the chance that or the miss pass, the muff pass to try and release Saka on the break. Uh, to be honest with you, I would have tried to figure out a way to get him in there and start. And I feel like he's almost busy enough, maybe to especially if you're looking for a goal, he's almost busy enough to play in that second deep midfielder role. Or like I said, definitely spelling Odegaard. I think that should be an option at some point as well. Love to see him in his favorite position, which is in behind the striker. Even though he would have to obviously put in the hard yards, but he presses really well. He impresses me. Great playmaker, opens things up. His movement is just incredible. Really intelligent. I know that he's new, and I know that in matches like this, you want to rely on your guys, the guys that you've had longest and who you feel have earned it. But numbers don't lie. You know what I mean? What is it? 8 goal contributions since he's arrived. It takes some balls to take that out of the lineup.
Yeah. I thought for sure he would. What rating are you giving him? Sorry.
Oh, I mean, sub minutes. I give him a 7. He's 7.
I gave him a 6 today. He was coming into that role again with the same thing that like you just mentioned, his size, the same thing that maybe Jesus was fighting a little as well. That you're playing long balls into him where he's never going to win them. Probably didn't get enough time to really feel or get into the game, but I thought for sure he'd be someone that Mikel Arteta started because earlier on the season he scored a hat trick again, and that was with Brighton. And I'm not no slight to Brighton, but I think we have a little bit more of an attacking advantage than a Brighton. I thought for sure he would have started today. Van Dijk and Allison probably sick of seeing him, but yeah, I gave him a 6 today, just based on the tactic that they were trying to use for him, which probably it's not the best thing for him. Again, ball to feet, let him do his thing. Never going to win you a head ball. He's never going to win. He's never going to be able to bring the ball down against a bigger guy with his back to him. So, and the last guy, Kieran Tierney.
Kieran Tierney. I mean, I guess I give him a standard. Actually, I'll give him a 7 because things felt a little steadier once he came in there just defensively. He did have a crack when he probably should have laid it off to Martinelli. Um, Whatever. It's so few minutes. I mean, a 7 seems unfair too. So 6, we'll call it.
Yeah, I gave him a 6 as well. Seemed to I know Salah was probably tired as well, but he seemed to marshal Salah while he was on the field for that little bit of time. Like you said, he could have played it in. And he decided to take a shot. Just a rambunctious appearance for him. He was getting about when he was covering Salah and down the wing too. So I'm giving him a 6. Not enough time to see Kieran Tierney. And we'll end the ratings with our manager, Mikel Arteta. Usually a 10, usually a 9. For the second half today, I don't know. First half, he would have been a 10 performance today. But the second half, and I know it wasn't the players, let's sit back. I know it's not them, let's sit back. So it had to come from him. And you cannot play 45 minutes like that. I don't care who you're playing against.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a 7 performance from him, I'd say. His use of the bench. I would have liked to have seen the subs earlier. We were balling out for fresh legs. Just the way that we came out in the second half. We didn't also, again, I mean, maybe this is, you won't accept it as the Anfield factor, but, why was Ramsdale man of the match? Because they had some chances. You know what I mean? Like we really were barely holding it together at the back, and we were balling out for some kind of defensive stability. I thought that maybe bringing on Jorginho for Xhaka was the move. That way, we're winning more balls in the midfield. You know what I'm saying? Has someone who's a little more, does a little more ball winning essentially, and just getting somebody else who can create another foul or two to stop a move, as opposed to Xhaka, who was already on a card. Tierney would have been a good idea to kind of help, stop some of those gaps on the left-hand side, especially as the game went on and, Zinchenko started to fade. Just kind of pulling the trigger on those and trusting the bench a little bit earlier, I thought could have got us over the line.
Yeah. I remember putting in the group chat, Mikel, with a question mark, when they were bringing on Firmino, and now Thiago's on. They brought in Darwin Núñez as another strike. They were going 4 up top now.
Right.
And it didn't look like he was doing anything. And then all of a sudden you see QER come into the screen. Okay. I'm giving him a 6 just based off everything what I've said before. There was a tactic change. There was a mentality change in the game. You could see it. And I hate it. I hate it when teams
you know what? I was going first half and then second half and then aggregate. But you know what? That's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it.
That's how Unai Emery got fired that one time where we scored a goal, I think, just before the half, and we came out and we took off Ozil, I think. We took off whoever our striker was, and we put on defensive players, and we were trying to sit back, and we lost that game. It was at where does Buendia play? Villa. It was at Villa one game, and we lost that game. We were well in hand. We had it. You decided the game was over and to sit back and absorb pressure and just defend for 45 minutes, and we lost to Villa. So I hate that tactic. I hate that mentality. I don't know what happened. Maybe he comes out in his post game and he says something about the difference that the second half came out, because I don't believe it was anything Klopp did, and I don't believe it was the fans. So we'll leave it at that. It's Easter Sunday here it's Easter Sunday everywhere, I guess. It's a crappy way to start your Sunday for me. I know we're happy that we didn't lose, and we're happy that we did get a point, but being 2 goals up, all that time remaining, it's just I don't know. Goals from Martinelli, goals from Jesus on our side, Salah and Firmino for the home team. We we have West Ham at home next week. We got to start again. We have to take points off of these teams I think we have Southampton coming up. We have West Ham, still have Chelsea. I believe we have Brighton. We still have Newcastle. I think we still have Newcastle. Is that right? Yeah, there.
Newcastle.
And we have, of course, Manchester City away coming up as well. So I mean, we have to start getting points in now. So, I mean, it's not all doom and gloom. I heard Jamie Carragher say that it's now Man City's title to win now. And I'm looking at the table, even with the draw, we're still 6 points ahead. So I don't know. I don't know if that's Liverpool math or what, but I mean, we're still in the lead. I don't understand. And like we talked about earlier, they got Champions League. They got to go Bayern Munich still. They got to play them twice.
That's right.
Play Bayern Munich twice.
And as we found out last year, like I said, game in hand doesn't mean win in hand.
I mean anything. Yeah, for sure. We had that last year. Look,
their game in hand is against Brighton. Their game in hand is against Brighton, who got robbed yesterday, by the way. Yes. Condolences and sympathies to the Brighton fans out there. We know what it feels like.
2 coaches get reds for not being able to control their bench. I mean, the referee was on one yesterday, and I hope I never see him reffing one of our games, but everybody will forget about it in 2 weeks, and he'll be back reffing.
And whoever that VAR combination, that little combo side was too, keep them away, far away.
Well, again, before we go, there was another apology from the Referees Association to Brighton, apologizing for the missed calls, the disallowed goals. It was crazy. It was crazy. Tottenham very, very, very lucky. And even if Gabriel Jesus came back from his injury and only scored 1 goal, he'd still have more goals than Richarlison for the season. Look at that.
Fun fact, folks. Fun fact.
Look at that. So, guys, we'll be back with you.
Hey, real quick. Last show, which was the first after the international break, we did the whole wrap up, and we kind of touched on everything that happened at the club during the break. But we forgot one thing, and that was Mo, number 10, Mesut Ozil, calling it a career. I think he's going to be moving into the e-gaming realm. Apparently, he's like a crazy gamer as well. And that doesn't surprise me. Like the guy's like a visionary and magical eyes, the things that he sees nobody else saw. And, and he really helped to like hold the club. We know, he helped to hold the club up during a really dark period and faced so many different challenges throughout his career, racism and the national team. He came forward to support Uyghur Muslims, right, and paid the price, in terms of how the club dealt with him, and still to this day takes the higher road. Was a huge influence on these kids who are now coming up through the academy, and playing to such high levels. I don't think it's a coincidence, that he was around, in the formative years of some of these kids now who, are carrying the club on its back. So, and not just to Saka and to Smith Rowe, but probably I'm certain to an extent, maybe Odegaard in the years that they were together, probably a couple of years there that they were together at Real also. So happy trails to Mesut Ozil, one of truly the all-time greats, a generational talent, and one of the biggest talents to ever throw on the red and white. So
100%, well said. Also, it was the anniversary of David Rocky Rocastle, March 22nd. I think that was happening during the international break as well. So if you were watching any of the clips or any of the games you saw, I think it was Leeds they played coming out of it. Was it Leeds? And I think he played for both squads. So both teams had his jersey in the beginning of the game, number 7. So the anniversary of his death, 22 years ago, March 31st. Sorry, March 31st. So Arsenal legend.
Yeah, and class as well. In terms of Hillsborough, the anniversary being next weekend. So I think this was like the home game before that. On our Instagram, you could see that our club captain and coach went out, laid some wreaths, and they had the moment of silence as well. So class from our club there as well. To wrap up this episode. So still, no matter what, win, lose, or draw, still super proud to be like supporting this club in this period. We've come a long way, baby.
That's right. And there's a saying at Arsenal: can't buy class.
Cannot.
Shout out to Man City. So with that, we'll leave you. We'll be back next week after the game against West Ham. Hopefully a win. Come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Gunners.